Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate it very much. And I want to thank the witnesses for their testimony. 2 years ago, I put out a survey to my constituents on big tech. I asked the citizens of my district the following question: do you trust big tech to be fair and responsible stewards of their platforms? Over 2,700 constituents responded, with 82% of them saying no. That's a terrible performance, in my opinion, for big tech. A year and a half later, I asked the same question to my constituents. Maybe big tech got the hint and had worked to gain public trust. This time, we had even more constituents respond to the survey, over 3,200 participants in my district. Same question: do you trust big tech to be fair and responsible stewards of their platforms? Once again, 82% of them said no, zero improvement whatsoever. In 2020, the documentary The Social Dilemma brought to light how social media platforms moderate their content. It showed the power that social media platforms have to polarize the views of its users based on the algorithms they use to promote certain content and the incentives to do so to keep us on their platforms longer. Mr. Schellenberger, to what extent is big tech to blame for the political polarization in America today?
Thank you for the question. I think very significant amount. It's obviously there was trends of polarization occurring before the rise of social media, but we know that social media reinforces people's existing beliefs. It creates a sense of certainty where there should be more openness and uncertainty. I think it's clearly contributed to a rising amount of intolerance and dogmatism that we've seen in the survey research. So unfortunately, it has not played the role of opening people up to wider perspectives that we had hoped.
Then, Mr. Dillon, thank you. Has the censorship you experienced by social media impacted your livelihoods? If so, can you explain how that has impacted your family or business relationships, please?
That was directed at me, right?
Yeah, to you, Mr. Dillon. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we were knocked off of Twitter for 8 months, which is one of our primary traffic sources. So it impacted the business performance in terms of how much traffic and revenue we were driving from that. Yes.
Very good. Question for you and Mr. Bachelard. I'm sorry, I butchered the name. Are there opinions or ideas that you have wanted to post on social media which you ultimately choose not to because of fear of retaliation by the platforms? We can start with Mr. Dillon and then Mr. Bhattacharya. I did a little better that time. Please, sir.
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah. Are there opinions or ideas that you have wanted to post on social media,
yes,
which you ultimately choose not to because of a fear of retaliation by the platform?
In my view, self-censorship is doing the tyrant's work for him. And so I refuse to censor myself, and I say what I think, come what may. And that's why when we got locked out of Twitter, we were asked to delete that tweet, and we could get our account back if we deleted the tweet and admit that we engaged in hateful conduct, and I refuse to do that too. So no, I don't censor myself, and I refuse to delete tweets that they want me to delete for hateful conduct when I don't think they're hateful.
Okay, well, I commend you for that. Mr. Bhattacharya.
I have self-censored because I didn't want to get booted off of Twitter or for social media. I tried to figure out where the line was, and I think as a result, the public didn't hear everything I wanted to say. I also say that there's a lot of younger faculty members and professors who've reached out to me and told me that they also self-censor by not going on social media at all, by not making their views public at all because of the environment created around the censorship.
No, I understand that as well. Mr. Schellenberger, in your experience, are there some platforms that have a better track record at maintaining free speech principles over others, or have any improved over time? If not, why do these companies continue to engage in biased content moderation decisions, and what can Congress do to better enable constitutionally protected speech?
I'm not sure of the answer to the first question. I will say that we have seen some, particularly Twitter, censoring some things that Facebook does not censor, and Facebook censoring some things that Twitter does not. So I think some of it just depends. But I think the most important thing, and I'm really trying to propose something here that I think both parties can agree to, is transparency. I don't think that we're going to ever, we can't agree on what a woman is as a society. So there's this famous, people say sometimes you're entitled to your own opinions but not your own facts. We're entitled to our own facts too under the First Amendment, and that's just how we are. So I think if you can't, we're not going to be able to legislate particular content moderation, and so we need to just move forward with transparency.
Well, I appreciate it very much. Very informative. Thank you for your answers.